Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday morning, and welcome to this Specialist Trading educational presentation. Now, today I want to talk to you about two edges that will change the way you trade candlesticks. The reason why we're focusing on candlesticks this morning is because I would venture to say that if you are not using them right now, at some point, most traders have applied candlestick patterns and candlesticks to their trading in the form of a chart. Many traders are new to them, but they start out with candlesticks. Others, like myself, were trading the standard open, high, low, close bars, and then we switched over to candlesticks. The trouble is, I get emails almost on a daily basis where I have exchanges with students, new students, or prospective students that say they're just not seeing the type of results that they want or they were promised with candlestick trading. Many people, maybe this includes you, have taken these $5,000, $10,000 courses about candlesticks, and it's just not working out the way you were promised. For example, if we look at this chart here in Lockheed LMT, most traders are taught that candlesticks are reversal patterns. So when you see the market going down the way it is right here, what you want to do is look for some type of buying pattern, reversal buy pattern. And in this case, most traders would say, well, Steve, we see this coming down, and what do I have right here? A bullish engulfing pattern. And just by its very name, it's a bullish pattern, meaning that most likely the trend will stop going lower and you should buy here. So let's say you jump in and buy, and it really doesn't go down a lot, but it doesn't go up either. So you say to yourself, well, okay, I'm still in this for the long haul. And after all, guess what? There's another bullish engulfing pattern right here. So two signs of bullishness. Maybe I got in a little bit too early, but this is a good sign. So I'll buy again. And then this happens, right? So this is where I get the emails from prospective students or new students, and they say, well, Steve, why aren't candlestick traders getting the type of results they're looking for? Or more unfortunately, what they were promised. Well, in today's presentation, I'm going to share with you two high probability edges that will increase your odds for consistency, and hopefully you'll be able to get the type of results that you have been looking for. Because if we look back at the same example, these two edges would not have had you buying here. In fact, they would have said, no, they do not qualify in any way, shape, or form as buy setups. And what they would have done is generated a sell signal right here, another one right here, and then one more right here, giving you three chances to potentially capture, I believe, roughly 40 points. And the good news is that everything I'm going to be displaying today is one click away on our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform that makes candlestick trading simple. So we're going to focus all about candlesticks today, and I want to thank you for joining me. My name is Steven Primo, President and Founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my webinars, every Wednesday we give free webinars, and with one focus in mind, and that's simply to educate you. A lot of times people will say, well, yeah, but Steve, at the very end of every presentation, you give us some promotion that we can buy or use to join and become a member of yours. Sure, if you'd like to. But we always like to leave you with some education, because if you decide not to become a student of ours, you still learned something today. You can use that in your trading, and we strongly feel it will help you. That's our sincerity to really trying to educate you. We're just not trying to sell you something the way so many other webinars do. I've been to them myself in the past. I've seen these tremendous signals, these tremendous systems, and then in order to find out how they work or just get an inkling of how they approach the markets, you have to spend $10,000. But we don't like to do that. We like to teach you something along the way, because we are first and foremost an educational company. I teamed up with PROPRIETARY Strategies about 13 years ago with that one goal in mind, simply to educate traders. And that's what you're going to be seeing today. I've been trading for 44 years now, and everything I teach my students, I personally use myself, and I've accumulated in that 44 years. These are high level consistency methods and techniques that really work and have stood the test of time. So hopefully I'll be able to increase your odds for consistency as well, even with what I'm going to be sharing with you in today's presentation. Now, before we begin, once again, as always, we're required by law to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results today using these two edges, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, please remember that since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, lots of ways to get more education from us. Even if you don't decide to sign up and become a student of mine, you can still follow us on Twitter. Every day I post different information, signals that our strategies and methods have generated, and a little bit of explanation as to why they were generated, and also financial wisdom, quotes that I've accumulated in my 44 years of trading. So lots of great free information and education on a daily basis. Please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, remember, we are first and foremost an educational company, so I'm not going to tell you what I think the market's going to do today or tomorrow or next week. I have no idea if it's going to go higher or if it's topping out. I have absolutely no idea. Our real concept of teaching students is to listen to the market and then follow along with what it wants to do. You see, most of the time you fail, most of the time you lose money, is because you're doing opposite of what the market wants to do. Think of it. If you're selling something, a future currency pair, the stock, whatever you're selling, and it goes higher, you're out of sync with the market. You're not listening to it. And if you're buying something, whatever time frame, whatever market, and it goes lower, you're basically out of sync. The way we get in sync is by listening to the market. Unfortunately, we're all taught the opposite. We're never taught to listen to the chart, the market right in front of us. We're taught to listen to some guy in a chat room, right? We're taught to listen to some guy on TV or some earnings report or some jobless claim. Those are the things that really determine what the market's going to do. Those same things were taught to me 44 years ago, and I could not make a dime using them. It wasn't until my mentors taught me that we call that useless noise. It really didn't help you at all in terms of trading. It's great for investing. Sure, you need to know those things, the inner workings of a company and the economic indicators, if you're holding on to a long-term position. But if you're trading anywhere from a couple of weeks to maybe a couple of months, there's really no great importance in applying those to your method. Okay, so what we focus on is teaching you how to listen to the market. And as an educator, our goal is not to force feed you signals or not to tell you what the market's going to do the way so many other websites do. It's not to tell you what we think the perfect time frame is. Our goal as a mentor is simply to teach you how to trade so that you can make those same decisions on your own. This is what's called the specialist edge, the edge that turned my trading around and has sustained me for over 4 decades, and hopefully it will be able to do the same for you. Now, a couple of announcements before we begin. I want to thank you all for disabling your cameras and microphones. This is a static presentation. It's not interactive the way some other Zoom presentations are. So we're not going to have a camera with everyone's picture or the microphones open where everyone can just say their piece whenever they want to. This is more of a static PowerPoint presentation. So I appreciate it, because in the past, we've had some people all of a sudden just pop up, and you may see that today with their cameras on and thinking that this is a normal Zoom meeting. This isn't a Zoom meeting. This is an actual class. So thank you for disabling your presentation. It's not interactive. You can ask me questions, and that's my second statement. I will take questions, but at the very end of the presentation. So if you have a question, please do not hesitate to ask me, but at the end of the presentation. Let's go through the entire PowerPoint, and then we shall get through everything and teach you exactly what to look for and what we're sharing with you today, and then we can ask questions about that. Now, the only question I will answer is this being recorded? Sure it is. We record all of our webinars. So if you have to leave early, or if you didn't get to understand something fully, don't worry. Each and every one of you will be sent a link to this recording so you can watch it at your own leisure. Remember, we're trying to educate you, so we want you to watch this as many times as possible so you can fully understand the process, okay? So once again, if you have questions, please wait till the end of class to ask any questions. And once again, this is not an interactive presentation in terms of everyone showing their cameras and talking whenever they want to on the microphone. So please disable all microphones and cameras. With that stated, let us begin today's educational presentation. We're going to be talking about 2 edges that I feel can greatly increase your odds for trading with candlesticks. All right. Now, these are 2 edges that I personally use when I trade with candlesticks. And the first one is an actual strategy. This is called strategy number 1. Okay, candlestick edge number 1. I'm sorry, this is edge number 1. The strategy is strategy number 5. It's based on trading candlesticks, and you can apply it to virtually any type of candlestick pattern. So some of the highlights of this particular method, it's a non-traditional candlestick method, and you'll see what we're talking about in just a few minutes here. Now, it has the ability to be traded with all candlestick patterns. Now, for the sake of simplicity, and I know not everyone trades candlesticks in today's attendee list, we'll just be viewing one candle pattern today, but it can be applied with any candle pattern. And it can be applied also to all markets and time frames. Now, we're going to have most of the examples today with stocks, but trust me when I say I mainly use it with E-mini futures. We have tons of students in Europe using it with currency pair futures. We also have Bitcoin traders using it. We also have commodity traders. So it makes no difference if the majority of slides you see today are stocks, because it really can be applied with anything, okay? Now, let's look at an example here. Here's a strategy number 5, buy signal. These are older charts just for educational purposes. A buy signal was generated right here, and you have a nice little rise in the next 2 days. Same thing here, the older chart of Facebook, a couple of sell signals were generated. Nothing much really happened until it ultimately clicked in, and then another sell signal was generated. Now, as with all methods, sometimes you'll get some phenomenal signals like this one. This is an older chart in AMC. Remember when AMC took off? Well, you'll get some phenomenal signals, but if you're not quick enough, you don't fully understand the process, you can give away all of those profits in a matter of weeks. And then even with some strategies that have high levels of consistency, just the way strategy number 5 does, sometimes you'll get a signal and it doesn't work at all. So is there a way to increase the consistency of strategy number 5? Yes, there is. And this brings us to our next edge. This is candlestick edge number 2, and this is by applying the PET D. Now, many of you I know have heard me talk about the PET D before. It's one of our most popular tools for trading. For those of you who aren't familiar with the PET D, it is simply a translator, okay? It's not a predictive tool. It doesn't tell you how high or how low something will go. It doesn't tell you when to buy or when to sell. It's not a signal, but it's simply a translator. It's a color bar translator. So it colors the bars either green or red, and it translates on a tick-by-tick basis what any market and any time frame wants to do. That's how sensitive it is. So in other words, if it wants to go higher, it colors the bars green, even on a down day. So you may have a down day or a series of down days that are all green. I know a lot of you have been trained to say, well, Steve, this is a down day. Why isn't it colored red? Because the PET D is saying, listen, even though it's down, it's still in a short-term uptrend. I'm translating that this is actually wanting to go higher. So this could be a buying opportunity. And even in an up day, you may see the outlines of the candlestick bars colored red. This is meaning that this is just a little blip in a short-term downtrend because it's translating that the market wants to go lower. For example, let's look at this chart right here in Aetna, okay? Obviously, it wants to go higher, all right? Someone would say, well, why do I need the PET D? This thing is going straight up. And then this usually happens, right? You get caught off guard. You had no idea that was coming. You didn't see it coming. How could the PET D have helped us? Well, on our platform, we simply click on the PET D in the upper green strategy tab, and the bars magically turn from green to red. If you see a series of green bars, the market wants to go higher. Once it changes to red, it's telling you the market wants to go lower. Remember, this is a translator. It does not predict how high or how low something will go. It doesn't pick the top or bottom. Doesn't tell you exactly where to buy or where to sell. It simply translates what the market wants to do on a tick-by-tick basis. But the beauty of the PET D, as you see here, is that it tells you which short-term direction you should be trading. And once you know that, you can apply any strategy to confirm, or you can apply it to confirm any strategy, I should say. It could be one of yours, one of mine. So this is a great way to listen to the market. You've got a high probability method that follows in sync with the trend, as opposed to looking for bottoms or tops with candlesticks. And you have a translator that's translating what the market wants to do. So to confirm whether that strategy number 5 signal is going to be a good one or not. All right. Now, when we combine these two edges together, we have what we call the candlestick combo. This is one of our most successful methods that we have at ProPrietary Strategies and Specialist Trading, because it's a non-traditional way of trading candlesticks. The only thing I'm really going to focus on today is sharing with you some examples, but let me tell you that strategy number 5 is non-traditional because it doesn't use that premise of trying to apply candlesticks as reversal patterns. See, there's no consistency in using a candlestick as a reversal pattern. So what we want to do is be in sync with the short-term trend, and that's where the PET D comes in. So if the PET D is coloring the bars green, well, that means the short-term trend is up. So how do we apply this candlestick combo? All right. Well, let's just look at one pattern today. Remember, you can apply this with any pattern. Let's just look at one. And we're going to talk about bullish engulfing patterns. All right. For many of you, I know a lot of you are familiar with bullish engulfing patterns, but for those of you who are not, just a brief refresher course. It's a 2-bar pattern, as you see here. Bar number 1 is usually down. It opens at this level here and closes lower. That's where you have the black body. Okay. Now, bar number 2 opens and closes higher. All right. So that's the 2 bars you're usually looking at. The reason it's called an engulfing pattern is because the open to close range of bar number 2 engulfs the open to close range of bar number 1. It doesn't have to engulf the entire body, as you see here with the wicks. It just has to engulf the open to close body. All right. So as you can see here, here is the close of bar number 2. Here's the open, and the open to close body was in the realm of that range. So this is a high probability signal using standard conventional candlesticks. But how can we increase that? Well, here's the process. We're only going to buy if the engulfing bar, that's bar number 2, is colored green. All right, that's it. We don't care what the bars were colored before. We don't care what the bars are colored afterwards. But bar number 2, the engulfing pattern bar, must be colored green. If we see that, that's a very high probability signal. Based on what? Interest rates? Based on the jobless claims? Based on what some guy said in a chat room? No, we don't take any of those things into consideration. This is based off the translation and the patterns of strategy number 5, the translation of PET D and strategy number 5. So this is what we're looking for. We apply the PET D and we see that, yes, bar number 2, it's an up day and the outline is green. So what do we have? We have a high probability up move. This is a candlestick combo. Now we can do the same thing for bearish engulfing patterns. They're the exact same pattern, just turned in reverse. So in other words, it's a 2-bar pattern. In this case, bar number 1 is usually up. Open to close is up. And bar number 2's range, open to close, is down. That's where you have the dark body. Okay. Now, the reason why it's an engulfing pattern is because the open to close range of bar number 2 engulfs the open to close range of bar number 1. This is a fairly strong probable setup that the market wants to go lower, whatever time frame, whatever market you're looking at. But can we increase the odds for consistency? Yes, we can, by applying the PET D. So we're only going to sell and use this engulfing pattern if bar number 2 is colored red. All right. We don't care what bar number 1 is colored. We don't care what the bars are colored afterwards. Bar number 2 needs to be colored red. So here's the original pattern. Once again, we apply the PET D and we see that bar number 2 is colored red. Okay. So what is this telling us? It's telling us that this pattern has been confirmed by the translator. And now you have a high probability down move, most likely getting ready to take place. You see, trading is really simple. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Trading is extremely simple. It's usually the trader that makes it more complicated than it has to be. Now, if you're having trouble with audio, please let me know. I think mainly that has a lot to do with your own internet connection. But if you're having trouble, let me know. I see someone chatting here that they can't hear anything. But I think that most of you are hearing this okay if you just type in yes or no, because oftentimes it has to do with your own internet connection if you log off and log on back on again, okay? All right, so let's continue. As we look back at that original example that I opened up the presentation with, the one in Lockheed, all right? Remember we had a couple of bullish engulfing patterns here. Here's bar number 1, bar number 2, it engulfs. So that's a good buy signal, right? Bar number 1, bar number 2, another one. But that's according to traditional wisdom. Remember, we're not trading this traditionally. The concept of strategy number 5 is you always trade in sync with the trend. And as you can see, once we apply the PET D, the trend is down. The PET D has been telling us well in advance that it wants to go lower because the bars are colored red. So we're never going to buy anything if the bars are red, let alone take advantage of a bullish engulfing pattern. This is why most traders don't see the type of results they were promised with candlestick trading, because candlesticks, in my opinion, work much better in sync with the trend as opposed as just being reversal patterns. You see, you don't want to ever buy fishing for the bottom of a trend because, well, how well would that have worked right here? So these two edges would not have had you buying here at all. And these two edges, just using that one pattern we're looking at today, engulfing patterns, would have generated a signal here that potentially could have captured 40 points. If you missed that, another one was generated right here. And still, if you missed that, another one right here. All right. So you tell me, which is a better way to trade candlesticks? All right. In sync with the trend or opposed to the trend? Obviously, it's in sync with the trend. And you have two great tools for helping you to accomplish that. Okay. So we're going to talk about trading the candlestick combo today, and we're going to show you how simple it is to apply on our platform, because everything I showed you leading up to this is one click away on our platform. We specifically designed the PTS Primo charting platform to make it simple. I can't tell you how many platforms I've used in my 4 decades plus of trading. Just virtually almost any platform you can think of, I've used. And so in that 4 decades, I know how to make trading simple, because some of these platforms I still to this day have difficulty using and applying because they're just so complicated and just say overly complicated, in my opinion. Trading should be simple. In the heat of the moment when you're trying to trade, you don't need a platform that is just as complicated as the market is. You need something that's simple so that you can focus on making your own decisions. You don't need something that it's going to take you 2 hours to figure out how to load a chart. So it's extremely simple to apply the candlestick combo on our platform. All right, so let's look at some recent examples. Remember, once again, if you have any questions or if you're having technical issues, just restart your computer maybe again, or your Zoom window once again. But even if you are, don't worry, each and every one of you will be sent a link to this recording at the end of today's presentation. Also, remember, if you have questions, we'll be done in about 20-25 minutes. Just remember, hold the questions till the end. All right, so let's look at this example on VRSK, all right? Using traditional wisdom, the way we were all originally taught to apply candlestick, what you want to do is look for a trend. And in this case, we have a nice uptrend, right? And look for a reversal pattern. So we're looking for a sell pattern. Obviously, this has been going straight up. You may say to yourself, well, I have this other indicator I bought from this other so-called educator I spent $5,000 on, and he's saying that this is overbought. Or maybe in that chat room, they're saying the stock is tremendously overbought. We've got to look for selling patterns. But what is the market telling us? Remember, our translator tells us what the market wants to do. Is it telling us that it wants to roll over and go down? Well, if we apply the PET D, well, firstly, if we apply strategy 5, a buy signal was generated right here. Now, if we apply the translator, it's telling us it wants to go higher. But all we're concerned with is bar number 2, and that's this bar right here. It's outlined green. And you still could have squeezed another 8 points in a little over a week after that, okay? This is why traders have difficulty with candlesticks, because you're trying to catch a falling knife or stand in front of a speeding train. And that'll work every once in a while, but most likely, it'll work very seldom. You'll feel really good about yourself, and then you'll give it all back on the next trade, right? Sound familiar? That's usually the way trading goes. We want you to be a consistent trader where you have 2 or 3 steps forward, 2 or 3 winning trades, maybe 1 loss, and then a couple of more wins, maybe 1 small loss, then 3, 4 more wins. That's the way you can sustain yourself as a trader, not by doing the opposite, by having 1 big win and feeling really proud of yourself, and then the rest of the month, you have a series of losses where you give everything back. That in itself is not trading, that's simply gambling. Here's another example, okay? In cycle, okay, it's going straight down. Obviously, we're in a downtrend, all right? What most traders who are taught traditional candlestick trading would do is to look for a buy setup, for a buy candle pattern. Obviously, we're oversold, right? This is where any indicator will tell you it's gone down too low, it can't go any lower. Or that guy in the chat room is telling you it can't go any lower, it's way oversold. But look what happens here. We've already had 2 sell signals generated. This one has so far worked out well, and we just had another one. Now, if we apply our translator, they're both in sync with it because bar number 2 in both of these sell signals have been colored red. So this is a high probability, or both of these are high probability setups, and we could have gotten 10 more points out of these trades. And if we miss those, 1 more was generated right here. All right, this was coming into August. Let's look at this example in CDNS, all right? Now, obviously, we're in an uptrend. How well do you think you would have done trying to sell into this, looking for reversal patterns with candlesticks? I don't think very well, right? But what if you were in sync? Well, strategy number 5 generated 2 buy signals right here that could have potentially captured 14 points. And if you use the candlestick combo, you would have seen that both of these were colored green. So that's where you had the confidence to take these trades. Here's the one in VRSN, VRSN. All right. Someone would say, well, Steve, we're just looking at 3 bars here. Well, that's how sensitive our methods are, and that's how simple they are to apply. Because strategy number 5 is generating a sell signal here. Now, if you're a little gun shy and you say to yourself, well, that's not enough information for me. Gosh, I wish I had more information about what this stock's been doing. Well, rather than, go to some chat room or find out what the earnings estimates are, or listen to some guy on TV, why don't we listen to the market? What's the translator saying? That's what will give you the confidence to take the trade. And once we apply the PET D, it's telling us, yeah, it's confirmed. The stock wants to go lower as of this moment. So that's a high probability set to go short. And look how it went lower right after that, 12 points coming into the end of August. All right, this example in Costco. Obviously, it's been in an uptrend, right? Most traders looking at this will say, well, Steve, gosh, I took that course in candlesticks, and what do we have here? We have a kind of an abbreviated morning star pattern. That's a topping formation. So it's very difficult for me to think of going long here. But if we apply a translator, we see that that morning star is not confirmed. All of the bars are green. So we can't confirm that pattern. It needs to be red. And on top of that, if we wait one more day, what do we have? We have a strategy number 5 buy signal, which is colored green. So look what happened. 38 points to the upside. What happened to that morning star pattern that was a reversal pattern? And once again, if the pattern is strong enough or the trend is strong enough, you'll get some more signals along the way, as we have right here. So more chances to get back in. Here's an example in ILMN, okay, alumina. Now, obviously, we're looking at one bar here. This is a daily bar, middle to late of August. But then look what happened. Some news came out, something that was bad, some announcement, and obviously the stock fell. It really had a gap down there that day. Now, if we apply the translator, before we do that, obviously you could say, well, Steve, that trading room I go to says this is major Fibonacci support, or that's where the institutions are buying because they have all the big bucks, and I can't sell down here because the market is probably telling me it wants to go higher, right? Well, we apply the translator. It's saying no, still wants to go lower. Until the bars change to green, it wants to go lower. So if we waited one more day, what do we get? A strategy number 5 sell signal, which is colored red. So when you think this is major support, we're going to have a nice bounce all the way back up to these highs. Don't listen to some guy on TV or someone in a trading room. Listen to the market. The market's giving you a high probability sell signal. And look what happened. 30 points in the next week or so to the downside. This just happened last week. Let's go through the process, really simple with Google. Now, I know this is a very expensive $3,000 stock, but I just want to share with you the process, okay? We get a strategy number 5 buy signal right here. This is beginning of July. Let's say you had a big enough account size or you have enough to trade some options. And you say to yourself, well, okay, I like this buy signal because I know what it's based off of. I learned it in the course, and it's basically, not a reversal buy signal. It's all the requirements have been met. But I'd like a little bit more assurance. This is an expensive stock after all. I don't want to lose a lot of money. So the way you get that assurance is by applying the PET D. And now what's the PET D telling you? What's the translator telling you? It's telling you this is a high probability candlestick combo signal. Why? Because bar number 2 is colored green. The signal bar is colored green. So this will give you the confidence if you decide to take this trade, and you had a nice little trade there. In the next couple of weeks, you had a nice little bounce. But let's say your doubt comes in, you start to get scared. Maybe that friend you trade with says, hey, you got to get out of this now because look at this. We have a bearish engulfing pattern, and this is standard, candlesticks 101. You sell in a reversal at the very top of the trend. So you got to get out of this, right? Well, what is the translator telling you? Well, listen, it's not saying that it's going to continue going up every bar, but it's not telling you that it wants to go down that much. Sure, it may go down a little, but it's not going to be a buying opportunity. So let's see what happened. Well, it went down for maybe 3 or 4 bars, only had one red bar, not enough to tell us that the trend had really changed. We need anywhere from 3 or so bars of a same color to tell us, and then made new highs again. So what would have happened if you sold there? You would have been kicking yourself, saying, boy, I really gave away a lot of profit. And what happens if your friend said, well, gosh, I sold here based on this bearish engulfing pattern, I'm getting killed. But what do we have here? We have another bearish engulfing pattern. So I'll sell again, I'll double down. And it went down for about another week or so, but not that much, not enough for you to really make any money. And on top of that, you have another buy signal here. All the bars continue to be green as we went sideways to lower. So this is a very strong buy setup once again. And look what happened, all right? And if you even missed those first two, there was still one that was generated just a week or so ago to go long Google. Now, had you taken this very first signal and stayed in, potentially you could have captured over 400 points in just a couple of months. This is based off of these two edges that I shared with you today. Okay, let's recap before we go into the question and answer portion. Only buy and sell candlestick patterns that are in sync with the PET-D. Okay, now the PET-D, remember, is a translator, and what it's translating is the short-term trend. So for all intents and purposes, sure, you could say, well, I don't need the PET-D, I could just be in sync with the short-term trend. But in my 44 years of trading, I have never seen anything that is consistent and as powerful as the PET-D in determining the short-term trend. Remember that chart I shared with you where the stock, I believe it was Aetna, went straight up and then straight down, and how the PET-D colored those perfectly? Well, you won't get that with other indicators. So this is really going to help you because it is so fine-tuned and it is literally translating on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do. And once you learn that and you know which direction to trade in, you can apply any candlestick pattern to that direction. So ask yourself, do you think our candlestick combo method can help your trading this next 4 months of the year? If you do, we have a great special discount for all of you attending today. For taking time out of your Wednesday, we're going to offer you our Candlestick Combo special. This is strategy number 5, along with the PET-D tool. You'll get instant course access, detailed video instruction. And today I really didn't go into detail, but we're going to share with you and teach you in the course all the many different entries, different exits, and different stop placements. So you'll get the entire course rules. Along with this, you'll also get 4 separate individual PET-D trading techniques. These are entirely different from what I shared with you today. I mean, some of our students only trade with the PET-D. They're separate techniques because they're really high probability methods. And I teach all of those in the course as well. All right. But we're not going to stop there. Everything we shared with you today was displayed coming from the PTS Primo charting platform. You saw how simple it was, how strategy number 5 was automatically displayed. You also saw how simple it was to get the PET-D there. Well, we're going to throw in 12 months. Now, 12 months usually cost close to $1,200. We're going to throw in 12 months, an entire year, absolutely free. So that comes included with the cost of the Candlestick Combo special. Now, with the PTS Primo charting platform, you're not going to just get the PET-D and strategy number 5. It comes with a host of different other tools that I've been applying for years that you won't find anywhere else because they're things that I've accumulated in 44 years and they've come directly from the trading floor. In fact, some of these things you have never seen anywhere else. I know I haven't. As I stated, I've traded just about every other platform there is in the world, and many of these techniques and methods I've never seen anywhere other than on the PTS Primo charting platform. Things like proprietary buy sell line, that tells you when you're going to actually have an overall or an overall uptrend or overall downtrend. You can use that in conjunction with any method or trading techniques. We also have a strength of trend tool you won't find anywhere else. That is a great tool for determining if a trend still has strength or if it's running out of steam. And this will help you in making your decision if you want to actually get into the trade or if you want to stay in or get out. It's a great, great tool you won't find anywhere else. We have great personalized tech support. But this is probably the best thing about the PTS Primo charting platform, along with a host of other techniques and methods that I can't go into here. There's just too many. There's literally dozens. The best thing, in my opinion, are the nightly scanner and automatic exit levels. These come with your full year of the platform, and they're one click away on the platform. For example, let's say I'd given this presentation, let's say 2 weeks ago, and you became a student of the course and you got the platform. You could have scanned in mid to end of August and seen that SGEN had a buy signal generated on the 17th of August, okay, through the scan. So that night you could have said to yourself, wow, okay, that looks like a pretty good buy signal. All right, according to the rules that I've learned in the course, but not sure if I want to take that trade. So let's add our confirmation tool in terms of the translator or the PET D. So click on the PET D on our platform, and guess what? It's confirmed. That's a high probability setup. So the other thing that we talked about are the exit levels. These are auto-generated exit levels. All you have to do is double click on the arrow whenever a signal is generated, and they automatically appear. Now here we had 2 exit levels to choose from. Let's say you had taken the second one. Well, in a little over a week, you could have exited at the second level and potentially captured 15 points. Nice little trade, right? And then look what happened directly after that. This is the beauty of all this. You won't find these anywhere else other than on the PTS Primo charting platform. And you know as well as I do, we all go to webinars, myself included. We see these great signals and they go, wow, that's phenomenal. I've got to buy this $5,000 course. And then we look at the signal date and it was 8/17, but 2019, maybe 2 years ago. This just happened a couple of weeks ago. And these are happening all the time. Now, for all transparency, the next example is an older chart. This was going back to February this year, but we haven't had a lot of sell signals because the market's been going straight up. But here was a sell signal that was generated in gold, GOLD, all right? Once again, you could have auto-clicked and you would have seen 4 different exit levels. Let's say you went short and wanted to exit at the 4th and final level. Well, look at the nice little trade you would have had there, okay? Now, lastly, I want to share with you something that just happened today. All right, as we look here at KDMN, we see here that kind of a sideways market. Nothing was happening. But when we scanned throughout the end of August, we had a cluster of buy signals, okay? But still nothing much has happened in the stock. Since the 20th, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we've had a number of buy signals, and they're all okay, but just no big gains have taken place yet. And if we applied the PET D, we would have seen that all of them were confirmed. So we had 3 candlestick combo buy signals all together that you could have scanned for. And any one of these would have been a good buy, because look what happened today. The price of the stock soared 80%, okay? Obviously, some news came out that caused it to go up. Maybe they're getting bought out. Maybe there's just some really good fundamental news. I have no idea, because I stopped looking at news 40 years ago. So I don't even care about news. And why would I? I had 3 buy signals well ahead of that news. So why would I have to care about what news is being announced? Had I waited for the news, I would have missed that 80% gain in the price. So this is something you could have taken advantage of. And these are happening over and over again, okay? So once again, I just want to share that these are not just signals that we cherry pick and show you, oh yeah, well, these are great signals that happened 2 years ago. This just happened within the last 2 or so weeks. So we're going to offer you strategy number 5, along with the PET D, and that also includes a full year included in the price of the PTS Primo charting platform, all right? Now, we're going to give you a great offer. Normally, this would cost you thousands, close to $5,000 altogether. We're going to give you a great offer for a limited time only, though. For a one-time fee of $497, you can get all of this, including the full year of the platform, and then just a $97 per month licensing fee, okay? That's it. $497, less than $500. This normally, all of this together would cost close to $5,000. Just $497, less than $500, and then just a small monthly fee of $97. Now, we have a lot of students who say, hey, Steve, I don't want to have a monthly payment. I'm sold. I want to get this all together. If you fall into that category, well, then you can purchase both courses with no lease for $29.95, okay? And we'll waive the first year annual fee. It'll be waived. And this also will include the platform. So we're very flexible. We really have a devotion to wanting to teach you. That's why we keep our prices as low as possible. Some of them have increased because of the demand, and we don't want to give everything away for free. But this is a great offer, less than $500. I can't think of a lot of other great strategies and methods, including a full year of our platform. A year from today, you will have wished you became a member of the Candlestick Combo course. If you're trading candlesticks or are new to candlesticks, you want to get started off in the right direction. The Candlestick Combo can help you do that. So take advantage of this. Remember, the discount is for a flat fee of $497. That comes with $97 per month, 12 months of the PTS Primo charts absolutely free, And if you wanted to purchase everything in full, which includes the platform as well, that would still be only $29.95. So here's how to take advantage of this. Contact ProTrader Strategies. I developed the platform and all the courses with them. They're in charge of all the pricing and all the discounts. They would be more than happy to take your order over the phone. So I would highly recommend giving them a call if you're interested at 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right there. Now, they would be more than happy to take your order. Or if you just have a question about pricing, let's say you already have the platform and you're saying, hey, listen, could you work with me on this? I already have the platform and I won't be able to take advantage of that. Well, they're more than happy to answer any question, and they're also flexible with price. So there's absolutely no obligation. Just give them a call, and anything concerning tech support, pricing, things of that nature, they can help you answer. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info and sign up page. It's not a live link. You can copy and paste that if you'd like to onto a browser, but I've just posted the link in the chat box. So you can go to the chat box and simply just click that on and it will take you there, okay? Now, I promised you I would answer any and all of your questions. So if you have some right now, please go to your chat box and type what they are, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Let me see, I see there's already a few here. Is this tool available for the NSE market? For I believe that's the Indian market. Yes, it is. This can be applied to any markets, any time frame. It makes no difference. And a lot of people are always asking what markets this can be applied to. This can be applied to any market. See, candlestick patterns will be generated no matter what market or what time frame you're looking at. So it makes no difference. Like I said, if you trade Bitcoin, if you trade commodities, if you trade currency pairs, or like myself, if you trade intraday futures, you'll see those patterns appear over and over again. You just don't have to know how to trade them correctly. Somebody's just thanking me for the great presentation. You are more than welcome. And as you can see, even though we can't give you all of the rules to the strategy and give you the formula for the PET D, at least we tried to teach you something today. And the basic concept of today's presentation was the way we've all were taught to trade candlesticks is fundamentally inconsistent. That's my belief, and that's what I tried to share with you today. The reason is because they're used as reversal patterns. And what we want to share with you today is to use them in the opposite fashion. They should be trend following patterns. So regardless if you use the PET D, if you can use any tool or technique that tells you what the trend is, you will have a higher level of consistency trading candlesticks if you trade them in sync with the trend. So you can start doing that today if you'd like. You just learn something new and you can go back and research it. And I can almost guarantee your results will be better. But guess what? We feel they will be even more consistent. You'll see the results you really want. They'll be off the table if you apply the candlestick combo. That's how strongly we feel that this will really take your trading results to new heights. So, even though we can't guarantee anything, we just want to teach you this so that you can apply this to your own trading and make your own, make your own decisions. Okay. We're first and foremost an educational company. We're not here to make statistics. We're not here to promise you that you're going to be a millionaire. We're not here to promise you that by the end of the month, you will be making money each and every day. We don't believe in that. The results you see are directly proportional to the work you put in. Our job as an educator is to teach you how to apply these high consistent methods, okay? One more person is asking, can this work intraday trading? Yes, it can. I apply this to intraday trading for the futures. I like to trade the E-mini futures, and this is where I predominantly use it. But you can also, we have students who apply it to weekly charts or even monthly charts. So it makes absolutely no difference. Wherever there is a candle pattern, you can apply this, okay? Okay, any more questions? These are very good questions. I hope you all learned something today. Remember, if you have more questions, once we've completed today's presentation about cost or about finance or about discounts, and you're not sure you want to come on board yet, that's okay. You can still call ProTrader Strategies at 310-598-6677. Absolutely no obligation. They would be more than happy to answer your questions about pricing and discount or about tech support, okay? Anything along that nature, okay? Now, as we take one last look at our disclaimer, I just want to take this time to thank you. I know you're very busy on your Wednesday. You could be trading right now. So I thank you for taking time out to come to this educational presentation. And at the same time, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Candlestick Combo course, okay? Any questions, please relate them back to Pro Trader Strategies. I wish you all the best of luck in trading. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.